Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom with Kate Olson. As an evolving spirit and change adventure navigator, it is Kate's mission to empower and guide you on your path and inspire your truest passions. She will encourage you to share your gifts, speak your truth, and ignite your inner wisdom and purpose. She hopes to do so with a little humor and grace and her own soulfire passion. Kate talks with amazing guests who have embraced the pursuit and are fanning the flames of their own passion, purpose, and soulfire wisdom. Now, here's your host, Kate.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom and Tips, Tricks, and Triumphs Tuesday. So, if this is your first time listening, I'm a hypnotherapist, a Reiki master, an NLP practitioner, and a life coach. But I like to call myself a change adventure navigator because I love guiding people through obstacles and adversity to find their path, purpose, and peace, and hopefully a little soulfire wisdom along the way. So today, I am going to give some tips on how to get yourself out of a bad mood or change your energy level quickly. This week, I had a client who came and she was just really upset with herself, and she said, um, I had a really bad day yesterday. And I said, Oh, why? And she said, Well, I got up and I was in a bad mood and it just kind of snowballed and I couldn't get myself out of it. So that absolutely is in your control. If you realize that you're in a bad mood, you can, in a half an hour or less, you can turn that around. And some good ways to do that are first, act happy, smile, think happy thoughts, um, laugh, you know, look up some jokes and laugh. Move around. The more you get your blood flowing, the easier it is to move your mood or emotions. Um, Go for a 10-minute walk, do yoga for 10 minutes, exercise. Reach out to a friend or family member. And it doesn't have to be anything big. Just say, hey, I was thinking about you and I just wanted to say hi. Just that small action is going to shift your mood. Get a task done that's on your to do list. The sense of accomplishment or achievement is always a mood booster. Like today, I made an oil change appointment, so I felt good about that. So a lot of times we don't have time for like cleaning our whole house, and but if you will tidy up just the space around you, um, that will have a positive effect on you. Uh, Put on happy or calming music. For some people, calming music is going to be a little better. For other people, they need that more upbeat feeling. So plan a future fun event. The feeling of anticipation or something to look forward to is a big mood booster. And then, last but not least, do a good deed. Doing good makes us feel good. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be giving somebody a compliment, opening a door, um, you know, buying someone coffee, just praising someone, telling them they did a good job, just anything like that. And if you do those things, you'll find it almost impossible to stay in a bad mood, and you're probably not going to have a bad day. So, we have a great show planned for today. My guest is Rae Ann Hall. And Rae Ann, she kind of does everything. She owns an insurance agency. She's the founder of a women's networking group and a 501c3 nonprofit to help young women overcoming abuse and adversities. She facilitates workshops for support groups and corporations. She's also an author and a podcaster. Her podcast, The Optimistic Choice, can be found on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Rae Ann grew up in Southern California but has been a Washington State resident for the past 20 years. And when she's not busy with everything else, she's also a wife and a mom. So I'm excited to introduce Rae Ann now. Hi,
Hello.
Rae. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me on your show. This is a treat.
Well, I'm glad to have you. To start out with, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what brought you to your current path?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I've been in insurance for over 20 years, and I opened my agency 9 years ago, and part of my business plan was community outreach. And what I didn't realize at the time was forming that women's organization, which turned into a nonprofit and helping young women. It was all part of my business plan, but it opened up a whole new door into life and a passion in me. It kind of unlocked a passion in me to help those who've seen things like I had seen and been through. And so that's how that came about, the Now Networking and the scholarship mentorship. And then, of course, I wanted to do right by them. So I went and got life coach certified so I could know how to help them and have the tools. And I was developing my own content with wisdom and things that I'd learned either through college or, just with my reading, with my life experience. Developed some books and workshops, and anyway, it just kind of brought on a life of its own. So still very much a full-time insurance agent, but on the weekends I do these workshops, and I'll take a couple hours through the week to kind of hone in, train, and post positive things. Doesn't take very long to do all of that and just kind of get that out there. So that's kind of my journey with how it went to another direction. And I did get my degree in social services, so it kind of all fits if you know the whole picture.
Okay, so what actually motivated the idea for the nonprofit?
Yeah, you know what? I was I was living in Mukilteo at the time, and I had been before I got married. Like it was I don't know, 10 years before the time I had started the Now Networking. I was in Bellingham, and I was part of this women's group called Whatcom Women in Business. Shout out to them if anyone will ever see this. But they gave away scholarships, and I looked around my community, and I did not see a women's organization doing that, holding an event and reaching out to the youth in that way. I saw groups reaching out to the youth in other ways, and Leadership Launch was starting with Rachel Kittle, and I saw different things like that, but not a women's organization bonding together by their community efforts. And I had a desire to start it. I started it. I told them my vision in the very first meeting of having a gala or some sort of a benefit to do that. Everyone was super excited about it. And most of them there, most of us grown women have seen a thing or two in our life. And just like me, overcoming, I was on your show before and I talked about overcoming sexual abuse as a child. I can say that with no energy attached to it because I've done so much work well past it at this stage in my life. But the desire to pay it forward, because people did help me with that, the desire to pay it forward also fueled that fire to start the Now Networking with that specific dream and goal.
Great. Did you go to Western?
No, but I've been to Western several times. I've been to lots of graduations for there for nieces and nephews, and also we have one of our recipients is there.
Oh, okay.
The campus is beautiful.
Yeah, I just wondered since you said you were up in Bellingham, but
Oh, I was
I
there
went to
after
Western.
college. Did you go to Western?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I went to Western and the University of Washington. So,
Neat. What was your major?
psychology. So
Okay. Yeah, I
makes
can
sense.
see that. Look at where you are.
Yeah, but I didn't go there directly. I went off in a whole different direction first.
Yeah, most of us change our major a couple times, right?
Yeah. So, how has optimism played a role in your success in life? How do you think that came about?
For me, optimism, it really springboards me back in the game. When I can go there in my mind and I can think, okay, I've faced hard things before, or I've had setbacks before, and I've come out shining. So it kind of gets me, to be optimistic that I can do it again. All is not lost. And when I kind of get myself in that mental attitude, I get busy going after it and doing the things that I need to do. I think when you stay stuck in the pessimistic or stuck in the hole or stuck in the darkness, you're stuck.
Yeah.
So optimism has springboarded me to achieve any success that I have had has come through an optimistic mindset is what I like to call it, because we are going to have bumps in the road. And if you can't get back to optimism, it's really hard to get to hope, you know? But you have that hope in your mind. You're like, okay, I can do this. I've got skills. I've got abilities. I can decide that this isn't the end. And that's optimism for me. And that's success. Success is never giving up. And to me, I do that through optimism.
Yes, optimism definitely works better. I like that meme. It says, "Don't be pessimistic. It wouldn't work anyway."
It doesn't work anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, so what fueled your desire to first start a podcast and then to call it the optimistic choice?
Yeah, kind of tying into what I was just talking about, that it is a choice. It is a decision how we're going to face things. And I wanted to celebrate people who face their hardships, because life's going to bring us those learning lessons. If we turn them into that, it's going to bring hardship, because that's what it does. The universe, God, everything, these are all little opportunities for us to learn. And I call it self-awareness growth instead of personal growth or development, because it's really just kind of being aware and being present and going through it. And you have a choice on how you do it. And so the optimistic choice really came to me. I was trying to figure out, I was like, I want to hear people's story. I want to see how I want to celebrate resilience. And I was looking at my Facebook page and it said, choose optimism. You know how you can have a little title under your name? I put that there years ago. And I was like, that's it. And so I got busy creating my podcast, and instead of creating Choose Optimism, I tried to be clever with it and called it The Optimistic Choice. And it's turned out to be a good thing, It's working out well. Every week I'm inspired by more people. We'll have to get you on there.
Yeah, definitely. I like the concept. So, how has optimism, kind of benefited you personally?
Well, in my personal life, same as like my business, when I have those setbacks, I know I can overcome them. And, I really do think that to increase in my personal life, when I am down and out, because I'll have those down days, I don't live at a high level of optimism. I always talk about that. There's down in the dumps, and then there's Tony Robbins' Euphoria High. And he doesn't live there either. But when you go to a seminar, you get there. And some people think you should always stay there, and you can't. It's not sustainable. So I talk about how it's that middle ground where you're optimistic and realistic, and you're not going to the extreme, because that's sustainable. That's a place where we can live and we can have positivity, and we can get plugged back in when we have the setbacks, but what helps me increase optimism in my life and how it's made it advantageous to my personal life is through gratitude. Kind of like you were talking about things you could do to feel better about your day. If studies show that if you list 3 things you're grateful for, it actually it creates neural pathways to joy in your brain.
Yes.
It switches the whole chemistry in your brain. It's pretty cool how those scientific studies have been happening for years now. But so for me, it starts with, okay, I'm really in a slump here. Now, I know what to do. I try to talk to myself. What am I grateful for? I get grounded and present, and I do a lot of things that you probably teach people to do as far as like, being in the room, or if I'm outside and something's happening that's pulling me into an anxiety state, I look at, 5 things I see, 4 things I hear, 2 things I can touch, or 3 things I can touch, 2 things I can feel, type of thing. But that kind of gets me present, and then I take, the deep breathing and all that. And then I start looking for things I'm grateful for. And wouldn't you know it, that gratitude really leads to a little bit of hope and optimism. And then I'm back running. Sometimes it takes longer depending on the hit. When people, for me, people betraying me, my trust, that's a big one for me. And so when that happens, it knocks me down because I put my whole heart into them, and I'm going, I haven't done that to you. I don't understand this. And it takes me a minute to overcome it. And I have I'm working through my process of not being angry about it because it's triggering something from my past. I know the way I'm responding to it has everything to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make what they did right, but the way I react and the way I move forward, it's all on me. All on me. So I can have a knee-jerk reaction that I get embarrassed of later. That part's on me.
Yeah, everyone does. That's normal. But
So getting to optimism really helps. That was a long way to answer that.
And compassion, like realizing that they're actually not doing this to you. It has to do with them and where they're.
Yeah, you have to go through the whole process though, because you're human experiencing it. So you have to kind of get there so that you can relax about it and your mind can get to work for it and then go, okay, I know what's happening. They have their thing going and I'm responding because I have my thing going. I let go of that, let them deal with what's caused their thing because I can't control it, but you have to talk your way through it. Even if you know it, when you're going through it, you're human. And it's like, okay, I know the skills. I got to tap into them.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So, you just kind of went through the ways that you increase optimism in your life.
Yes. Yep.
So, do you have a favorite quote or saying that helps to motivate you? I think remembering the words have power, and I think remembering those things or thinking of them is always.
I'm going to give you my favorite quote. It's very short. It is very short, but it is super profound. Okay. Don't let yesterday use up too much of today. It's great. And you know why? Because if you really think about it, when we are responding in fear, it's because of things that happened yesterday, many yesterdays ago. And so you don't want to have, or we made a mistake yesterday, but let's get over it. Today's a new day. There's lots of meanings to it on a short sentence.
And the same goes for tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, just so much wisdom in that little quote.
Yes, definitely. So what challenges you the most in the work that you do or just in life in general?
What challenges me in life in general, besides what we've already talked about? Because I brought up a couple personal ones too. I got really personal with you there. I would say I really want to have more connection. In this pandemic, I missed being around people. I'm a people person. I got used to Zoom and that helped a lot, but that was a pretty big challenge. So I'm a color code personality trainer. That's one of the life coaching things I do because I wanted to have several tools in my tool belt, if you will. And so my color code is yellow. Actually, I'm wearing yellow right now. And that's my core motive is fun. It's enthusiasm, it's optimism, and we're squiggly, and we want to get out there, we want adventure and stuff like that. Well, this pandemic's kind of been hard on the yellows, especially when we're people. Does that make sense? So,
yeah.
So Zoom has been a lifesaver for me. And then now that we're getting the vaccine and people are starting to get back together, that's helping a whole lot. So that was one challenge I faced recently.
Okay. So what is the biggest gift or reward that you get from your work?
Oh, I will say that as dry as it sounds, insurance, it sounds dry. But when somebody is going through a really difficult time because someone hit them or they were in an accident or whatever, and they have the right coverages in place, I feel at peace. Like, now this is their time of need. I showed up early so that they could have peace now. And they're going through something tough, but they don't have to worry about their coverages. And I don't have to worry that I gave them a policy that wouldn't deliver, when they needed it. So for my day job, that really does give me fulfillment. And to the person who's not an insurance agent, they might think that's a weird answer, but I do find fulfillment in my work that way when I did it right for them. And then, just my family's number one for me, God, family, and then my work. So I would have said those first because any peace, any joy, any true sustainable meaning for me comes from the Lord because I'm Christian. And so that's just a personal answer because it's a question about me, but I get my most fulfillment when I can nurture that relationship with the Savior and be with my family and just connect, being present. And then the third piece is, with the work with young women overcoming the abuse and adversities, because I walked the walk and helping them walk it and seeing them break free from it and just start to blossom. It's a joy that I can't just put in words. It's true fulfillment. It's pretty special.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be. And I actually did have somebody that I was a client at the time when we did our last show, who she had been a victim of childhood abuse, sexual abuse, and she was really inspired by that show. I mean, it really helped to hear some people who had, gotten through everything and had an optimistic outlook on life. So
yeah, we don't have to wear those chains. We can let go of them, but we can also be real to know that things happened in our body to us and inside our souls that wasn't supposed to happen. And so it can have lasting effects, even though you're moving forward every day and you're making the most of it. And you're not being stuck there. But when those things come up, I've even had psychologists, I've even had people that actually men that I have great respect for say, get over it already. Well, I am, but you don't understand the trauma and the long-term effects of it. And while I don't feel those effects sometimes months and years, when it does hit. And now I have the tools to deal with it and keep moving forward. But to just think that it's a light switch and, oh, it's over, you're done. That's not a true statement. And even when psychologists say that, people that, like I said, people that I've admired their work, but when they say that, I'm like, here's a person who doesn't get trauma and what it does to the body. It's no excuse. We can't live in the past and be stuck by what happened, but it's not realistic to say that your life is okay now because you're 18 and now go on. That's not real. It's just not. It's an effort thing, right? But the good news is you can move forward.
Yeah.
And you can get tools to handle those things. What were we going to say, Kate?
Just what you said.
I didn't mean to talk over you.
It's okay. I'm getting a little bit of echo on my end, so.
And you do look grayed out a little bit. You might have an unstable connection, is what I'm noticing.
No, I think it's the lighting here that causes that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it's all good stuff. And I'm so glad that someone could feel encouraged by that, because I know I'm encouraged when I hear people share their stories, like Amity Adrisi of King 5 News in Seattle. She shared her story and I put it out to the universe. I wanted to connect with her because I thought she'd be a great fit to advocate for what we were doing as our group, because she shared a story that happened to her as a young woman. And we, you put it out there and someone knew someone and they reached out and then we got connected. But she inspired me because she went on national TV and shared her story. And that was in the middle of the Me Too thing. And she doesn't go on there, and talk about it anymore. But at the time it was relevant and she shared it, and it impacted me and many people. She got lots of letters from it. So glad for people that are doing that. Because then you're shedding light to it and you're not keeping it in the darkness and in fear.
So, as I mentioned in the beginning, you do so many different things. Do you have any goals or aspirations that are on the horizon?
Yes. Well, I was approached to co-author in a book it's called Success Maverick. So that's coming up in the summer. I'm just one chapter of it, but my chapter is called The Resilient Warrior. I would like to be known as the Resilient Warrior. I connect to that term because a warrior is a fighter, doesn't give up easily. And that, I feel, defines a lot of us who are thriving after a not so good setup in life. But yeah, so I would like to be known as the Resilient Warrior and be on a speaking tour someday again. I was on a speaking circuit at one point earlier in my life, but now I'm a mom. So at some point that'll happen again. That's what I see in the future, is because I love public speaking. I get really charged. It's my come alive. I thought Brene Brown said it, but someone else said that she was quoting someone else. So whoever said that, I love it, because the world needs people who find their come alive. And that's my come alive.
My show last week, I can't remember who the quote is by, but there's
some man that said it, I guess.
Yes, it was a man, and the quote is it's about the world needs people who have come alive. So yeah, I like that too.
And for some reason, I love to speak and, get the audience to feel something and to connect with them. For some reason, that's my thing. So I want to do that.
Great. And resilience never goes out of style. So
yeah, it never does.
No. So this might seem a little bit, off topic, but I've been asking all my guests for a while now. So what has surprised you most about life so far?
Okay, what has surprised me? At this age, not a lot surprises me. But I will say, when I don't want to say that I'm surprised by how resilient people are but I hear these stories that are just awful. I've been listening to Clubhouse a lot lately because I just got an iPhone so that I could be on Clubhouse and do speaking and stuff. And these stories of people with guns to their head and like, I'm just going, oh man, I thought I went through something really, really difficult and I knew I wasn't alone. But you hear some of these stories and you're just like, how on earth are they standing up? It's like, how are they not just balled up in anxiety all the time? And that, so when I hear stories like that, I don't want to say that I'm surprised by their resilience, but man, I'm inspired by it. These are the type of people I'd love to get on the optimistic choice because it thrills me to no end to see that human spirit of resiliency. And that guy, I was listening to his story, I was just in awe. And his drive now to go out, and he has a drive. We all have a drive to like, okay, I'm going to share my story, and I'm going to let you know you're not alone, and so I guess that it's that compassion piece. When I'll tell you one that surprises me that's bad, and one that surprises me that's good. Okay, I just told you the good one. I started with that, but when people that proclaim to be all about love act in a way that's harmful to me or others, it surprises me a little bit. I'm like, well, wait a minute, you're claiming that all is love, and yet you're being harmful with your gossip or your actions or your, it's like that harm can be done socially, online or whatever. I don't understand that those poor motives, that's someone with an unhealthy motive. And so it does surprise me when I see that, especially when they're proclaiming the exact opposite. But what surprises me in the good sense is that I can get to a place of forgiveness for them. And for me, that's a spiritual journey. Because if it was directed to me, it's even harder. But when it's directed to someone I love, like a friend I love or a family member, I get a little heated about it. And so it's a process. We're all in this world kind of going through it, and sometimes we're projecting our stuff on each other, and we have to heal through it. And it's surprising to me when people say they get it, but then they go out and they do the opposite. Hey, I'm not perfect. I've done it myself. So
yeah,
it's like, oh, why did I just do that? I tell people not to. What was that?
I said, I understand. So many things surprise me. One of them is for a long, long time, I believed that if people were intelligent, and the more intelligent they were, that they would choose to be good.
Mm.
They would choose to do good.
And respond with compassion first, right?
Yes, and I've been surprised to find out that is not always true. So,
and sometimes you're just catching them in a place where they're not in the right mind space to be available and show up that way for you. And you have to give them grace like you're expecting them to, because they have the skills to. But guess what? They're people too, and they have a life. So, maybe they can't show up for you right then and there, but maybe they can later. So it's all a little, you got to be a little fluid with it and give people grace and really be your own champion, be your own ally. Talk about that a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
So, if you could leave the listeners with one thought from today's show, what would you want that to be?
Dig deep, girl. I talk to women. I connect with women more, but men too, because you've got everything you need right inside of you. You've got it all. You've got that strength. You've got it. Access it. Don't give in to the idea that you can't. You can't overcome it. Don't get into the idea that you can't do it. If you put your mind to it, you can probably do just about anything. I mean, we're going to have natural talents that are easier to get to doing things. But my message would be to anyone, male or female, dig deep. You've got the strength right inside of you to face what needs facing and go after it.
Definitely. So if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to listen to your podcast, if they want to find out more about anything that you've talked about, or if they need insurance. How
Yeah.
do they get in touch with you?
You know what? And my number's right there. If you need insurance, give me a call. I'm licensed in Arizona, actually, Arizona, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington.
Okay, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
And nowadays, people don't go into the office to sign their insurance contracts. So I can really just help you, anyone in those states. And we can Zoom, we meet, and I'm going to get you good service and good policy. But, with all the other stuff, with the motivational stuff and the workshops and retreats that I do, go to forwardprinciples.com. That has everything, all the connections, my podcast, workshops, color code, everything. Forwardprinciples.com.
Okay, that sounds good. So thank you so much for being here today and, sharing your wisdom.
And thank you, Kate, for having me and for being such a gracious host.
Well, you are welcome. So I have a quote for the listeners to carry with them through the week, and it is about, guess what? Optimism. So optimism is a strategy for making a better future, because unless you believe that the future can be better, you are unlikely to step up and take responsibility for making it so. And that was said by Noam Chomsky. So I like it. So we have a great show planned for next week. Next week, my guest will be Dara Wagner, and she teaches meditation, and she's a coach, and she's also had a lot of life experience. And so we're going to talk about her own personal journey from suicidal depression to joy. So be sure to tune in next week and, hear about her journey and how to reach that point of joy. So thank you again, Nikki. I'm just going to say bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Soul Fire Wisdom with Kate Olson. We hope you enjoyed the show. If we made you laugh, brightened your day, or sparked a new thought, we have succeeded in our mission. Join us next time when we'll share more secrets and truths and all the magic of transformation that is the journey to Soul Fire Wisdom. Always remember, be fierce in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire.